Pirate I Was Dug Up by Robin, Chapter 501-520. Chapter 501 100 Years of Shocking Beasts and Aunts. Open black lens bracket 1/4 for subscription. Close black lens bracket. 10,000 meters in the sky, the sun is so strong and dazzling that people can't open their eyes. However, at this moment, the two emperors, the beasts and the ant, more than 1,000 strong men raised their heads in unison. Even if his eyes were stinged by the sun, he still persisted and did not look away. All because of the legendary flying pirate, Golden Lion Shaki's big brother. The last era, the legendary existence of One Piece, King of Pirates Roger and Whitebeard had the same reputation, and it is unheard of to have a big brother. This is an earth-shattering event. If it spreads out, it will definitely cause an uproar around the world. Qualified to be called the Big Brother by Golden Lion Shaki, who is the sacred beast and the Big Mother, the pirates of the two emperors are anxiously waiting. There are footsteps sounding from the sky. A figure appeared in the dazzling fiery red sun. Because of the sun, I can't really see it. But not everyone didn't see it. At least the 100 beasts Flame Cinder, the Queen of Plague, the sixth son Uluti and others, as well as the ants Sparrow, the General Star Smoothie and others have all seen it. Seeing and recognizing the identity of the heavenly man. These, the faces of the powerhouses who are almost based on the world's second echelon, all show extreme shock and disbelief. Their eyes suddenly widened, the pupils in their eyes shrank suddenly, and their chins almost drooped to the ground due to the excessive shock. How could it be him? The epidemic queen's voice was raised more than an octave, screaming in shock. How could he be the big brother of Golden Lion Shaki? The giant beauty Black Maria is pale. Impossible, we must have misunderstood. Sparrow shook his head again and again, with disbelief written all over his face. Lord Jin, Lord Queen. Brother Perros, Sister Smoothie. Who is that person? 100 beasts and Auntie, the pirates who have not yet identified the identity of the person in the sky, all asked anxiously. That person, that guy is the hero Roland. Wow. The entire prison island fell into a sea of uproar at this time. At the same time, the figure in the sky that was molded by the sun gradually became clear. In the sight of the two emperor pirates on the island, the originally blurred figure was now extremely dazzling. More dazzling than the sun in the sky. Gia ha 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 ha, it's really worthless, the beasts and the little devils of the ant, this will scare you all. Golden Lion laughed sarcastically. If it is changed to the past, even if the opponent is the legendary flying pirate Golden Lion Shaki, Zon team headed by the Queen of Epidemic will definitely not make a fool of him, and they have already scolded him. However now, at this moment, they really don't have time to scold people. When I learned that the big brother Golden Lion Shaki said, it turned out to be Luo Lin. That, the man who defeated their four emperors' alliance by himself, the time of the legendary hero. With shocking emotions from the inside out. The brain is blank. Deep in my mind, it was like a stormy wave was set off. Emotions of shock and fear flooded into their hearts, making many of them unable to think. Hey, Golden Lion Shaki, can you explain what's going on and why this hero is your big brother? The Plague Queen gasped heavily and roared with all her strength. The marine hero who defeated the Ocean Lord Rox 36 years ago turned out to be the big brother of the flying pirate, stop joking. Charlotte Montdor has blue veins on her forehead. If it's a nightmare, hurry up and wake me up. Oh. The thief group combatant, the fur tribe Baker Moss raised his head and roared. Marine is the eldest brother of the pirates, it's a big joke. Fishman Sasaki looks ridiculous. Golden Lion Shaki, is your head broken? The irritable old sister Uluti, who is stubborn, naturally has no scruples. Mr. Jin, what are you saying too? Peggy Wan looked at the flames in horror. From the beginning, we should have thought about it. Fire Calamity finally spoke. What comes to mind? The Queen answered subconsciously. The flying arena during the martial arts conference, the Jedi venue in the second round of the conference, and the Sky Island-going township over Alabasta. Flame Calamity Embers opened his mouth with a faint gaze. Gah! Listen to the reminder of the fire disaster. Queen of the Epidemic, Fursford, and Black Maria were all holding their breath unconsciously. They understood the meaning of Firebane's words. Those who appeared in Waysung. Incredible floating scene. It was not by Isho, a man with many fruit abilities. It is the legendary flying pirate, Golden Lion Shiki, who really created the miracle of the Sky Island. Just when the officials of the beasts were shocked by this amazing speculation. 100 meters away, a huge wave suddenly appeared on the thief mothership Queen Mother Anthem. Hero Roland, you're on our ship, think. What do you want to do? Chapter 502 Say the toughest thing. Do the most cowardly thing. Open black lens bracket 2/4 for subscription. Close black lens bracket. Mothership of Thieves, the deck of the fancy dessert ship Queen Mother Anthem. Just as Auntie's ministers and cadres were still immersed in shocking emotions, they couldn't help themselves. Suddenly, they only felt their gazes towards the sky flickering. Next second, Luo Lin, who was supposed to be at a height of 100 meters, suddenly disappeared from their sight. This sudden situation made the aunts and cadres on the ship couldn't help but be stunned. Immediately, an inexplicable ominous premonition emerged from their hearts. Observation hockey that has nothing to do with foreseeing the future. Just intuition. Intuition tells them that something bad is about to happen. Just when the thieves, ministers and cadres shuddered. A click sounded softly. Footsteps sounded from the center of the deck. The ant cadres who were looking at the sky subconsciously tilted their heads to look at the source of the footsteps, waiting to see the figure suddenly appearing among them. The atmosphere on the deck suddenly became stagnant. The air seemed to freeze. Perospero, Oven, Daifuku, Smoothie, Baron Ball, Flamp and more. All the ant cadres are like the slow light of the silver fox Foxy, their eyes and mouths widen and open at a slow speed visible to the naked eye. The footsteps also retreated at an extremely slow and gentle pace. The sound of smack footsteps fell, broke the solidified atmosphere in the field. As the time of the slow light passes, Hulala, the ant and cadres in the middle of the deck left in a hurry. To die. That, the hero has come to us. Brothers, protect your lovely sister. The girls screamed loudly one after another. That was the severely frightened Franpe and other young girls screaming. The scene was chaotic in an instant. Boom, made a muffled sound. That was Roland walking. It was like the heartbeat of the earth. The huge mothership Queen Mother Anthem shook for a moment. Then the panic and panic screaming on the deck came to an abrupt end. Also quiet are the pirates 100 meters away. Is this the power of Luo Lin, the hero above the four emperors? Firebane clenched his teeth. A drop of cold sweat started from the forehead and dripped down the edge of the mask. Call. Aside, the Queen of the Epidemic let out a long breath. Fortunately, the killing star didn't come to our side. The Queen said happily. Phosphord, Fishman Sasaki, Peggy 1 and others all nodded with deep sympathy. At the same time, on the deck of the Queen Mother Anthem, the thieves, ministers and cadres formed a huge circle. In the center of the circle, there is only one Luo Lin. And right in front of Roland, Smoothie, Perospero, Baker Moose, Balan Baron and others blocked the entrance of the cabin tightly. A look that would never let Roland step into it. Hero Roland, when you arrived on our ship, what do you want? What do you want to do? As the eldest son of the family, Perospero naturally has to stand up. I will never let you get close to our mother anymore. Daifuku and Oven also stepped forward in unison, and spoke sternly and restrainedly. Mom has been seriously injured by you, what are you going to do? Smoothie scolds. If you want to do something to the seriously injured mother, let's step over our corpse first. Baron Eggy said decisively. That's right, Gah. Oh. Peas-eyed lion fur baker moose echoes. The faces of the core fighters and ministers of the aunts were all with a determined look of death. Roland's eyes calmly swept over the people in front of him. The corners of his mouth could not help but raise a subtle and strange arc. This one by one. It's just tough. It's just that what I'm thinking about is something else entirely. Fuck you, you guys are going to die. Sparrow's terrified eyes widened, thinking. Brother Sparrows will come later, we will come again. Daifuku and Oven looked at each other and nodded in agreement. Damn, who will stop the hero Roland? Long-legged Strokes clenched Star Smoothie's silver teeth, shouting in her heart. It's enough to step over their corpses, I'm just a chicken. Baron Eggy thought to himself. In the end, Roland's eyes fell on Beckmas. Aware of Roland's gaze, Beckmas couldn't help shrinking his head. But immediately he held his head high again, and looked like he was going to die. It doesn't look very smart. As expected of a stunned green type like Straw Hat Luffy. Thinking of this, Roland couldn't help but be amused by Baker Moose's honesty. Shaking his head and chuckling, Roland walked straight towards the cabin. I'm here, I can't stand it anymore. I'll withdraw first as a respect. Sparrow looked terrified, and hurriedly dodged to the side. Damn it, Brother Sparrows ran away, and we also withdraw. Oven and Daifuku glanced at each other, then moved away from each other. Anyone is fine, help us stop him. Smoothie shouted in his heart, and a pair of long legs walked to the side honestly. I lost it, so fast. Baron Dandan cursed in a low voice, and the foot-long clan's talented compass legs ran out more than 10 meters in 3 or 2 steps. The main force in front all ran away. Naturally, the secondary cadres at the back couldn't stand still, and ran away with a hula. Ultimately, in front of the cabin door, there was only the upright peas-eyed lion fur Baker Moose alone. You. Bakermouth looked left and looked again. Looking at the empty side, Dudu's eyes under the sunglasses were full of astonishment, and the whole lion was dumbfounded. Little lion, are you going to stop me? Roland grins Isho. Chapter 503 Appreciation of Heroes. Lovely little lion. Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. Say the toughest things and do the most cowardly things. At this moment. Perfectly interpreted the meaning of this sentence with their own practical actions. Roland stood in front of the peas-eyed lion's fur. Little lion, you are the only one left. Looking down at the bewildered Baker Moose, the corner of Roland's mouth unconsciously raised a radian. Baker Moose. Look left, no one is there. Look right, no one is there. Back is also finished. What the hell is going on? The whole lion of Beckmas is stupid. The sunglasses used to block the funny beanie's eyes are skewed. Under the nose, a string of snot was drooping unconsciously. Not like we agreed to swear to the death and protect our mother, how can there be such a thing? Hey, Baker Mus, give up, the other party is a hero who surpassed the 4 emperors, how can we stop it, it's just a death sentence. Looking at Beckmas, who was stunned and motionless. Baron Dandan, who has been with him for many years, couldn't help but reminded in a low voice. Bakermas tilted his head to look at Baron Eggy who was hiding far away. Said, if you want to do something to mother, step over our corpse first. I felt the questioning gaze from Bakermas. Baron Eggy shrank his head, not daring to look at him. Bakermas looked at the ministers such as Smoothie and Sparrow again. Strictly speaking, he is just a courtier of Charlotte Linlin. These people are true blood-related children. However, Smoothie and the others seemed to have thought of this too, and they avoided Baker Moose's gaze, not daring to look directly at his innocent pea's eyes. Clap. Beckmas, tail fluttered and slapped the deck. It represents the grief and anger in his heart at the moment and the chill of being betrayed. Although he is not human. But it is a lion with love and righteousness. In the past, he was rescued by drifting after a shipwreck. He also joins the thief here. The pure and straightforward he can do is all Lot Linlin in return. Even Charlotte Linlin's biological children escaped. He can't go back either. At most, it would be to give back the life that he had lived for so many years. Think here. A determined look appeared on Bakermas' face. Zone Tortoise Fruit ability activates. A green sturdy defensive turtle shell tore his clothes and slowly emerged. Bakermouse. Stop it now, Bakermas. Don't provoke that person. You're going to kill the entire pirate group like this. The ant cadres who ran to the side without authorization were surprisingly tough at this time. Shut up. Bakermas stopped drinking. It's my choice, come on, hero. Bakermas had great courage in his heart and looked directly at the stalwart figure in front of him. Even if he was facing the supreme powerhouse of the sea who could easily kill even the 4 emperors, he did not retreat half a point. The courage to face death alone has surpassed everyone present. Jia ha 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 ha, big brother, this little lion is not bad, it has the style of Lao Tzu. In the sky, Golden Lion Shiki burst into the air with a loud laugh. Really rare. Roland nodded in appreciation. It's just, since the other party has already realized this, how can Luo Lin ignore it? Boom, took a step forward. The turbulent conqueror Haki rushed out of Roland. Condensed into an invisible giant hammer and smashed it on Beckmas' forehead. Shock of Roland's terrifying conqueror. Beckmas' head jerked back. Steps back and forth involuntarily. Finally, he fell down in front of the cabin door, rolled his eyes, and passed out completely. What a powerful conqueror Haki. All the Big Mom pirates were horrified. Look, it's really futile. That guy from Bakermouse is such an idiot. It's really stupid, how can we thieves have such a fool? ... The cowards hiding in the corners are sparing no effort to speak sarcastically at this moment. It seems that only in this way can the shock and shame brought to them by the courage of Beckmas can be reduced. To show how correct their retreat was. Boom, Roland's step fell completely. Obviously stepping on the deck, but for the antis on board. Roland's foot seemed to be straight on their hearts. Especially those, the cowards who said or thought to ridicule the courageous actions of Baker Moose. Ah ah ah. Screams rang out one after another. Under that unspeakable pressure, Big Mom pirates on the boat fell into a coma one after another and fell to the ground. Hero Luo Lin, we have already stepped aside, how far are you still forcing us? Sparrow cried out in horror, not even realizing the blood dripping from the bite on his tongue. Jia ha 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 ha, stupid idiots, you are the real idiots. Golden Lion Shiki laughed. Come on, let's go see Linlin now. ... Chapter 504 Explore the secrets of Zoro's mother's soul. The nun took the house. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Mothership of Thieves, inside the cabin of the Queen Mother Anthem. The luxurious palace-like room was the captain's room where the 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin was located. Jia ha 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 ha, long bread, get out of the way, looking at the past affection, I will not do anything. The Golden Lion Shiki looked at the chef's long bread who finally blocked the door of the captain's room. Shiki, and you. The short-stature chef Longbread looked at Roland, and the pupils of his old eyes shrank suddenly. A look of extreme horror unconsciously appeared on an old face. Shiki, why the hell are you hanging out with the enemy? Questioned Golden Lion Shiki with an incredible look on his face. Jia ha 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 ha, long bread, times have changed, and now my big brother and I are not enemies. Golden Lion laughed. Big brother. Having stayed in the cabin the whole time, Long Bread, who was unaware of what was happening outside, was stunned. Hearing the Golden Lion Shiki's address to Luo Lin, the whole person seemed to have been struck by lightning. Raise is called an outer Jiao Li Nen. Just as Long Bread was about to continue his questioning, the sight in front of him suddenly flickered. Next second, Luo Lin, who was in his sight originally, disappeared. Not good. Longbread turned abruptly. Luo Lin, who was standing above the head of the four emperors, Charlotte Linlin, who was in a coma, who was seriously injured, a look of anger appeared on the face of Longbread. Kang. The golden sword glow shines. That is the famous sword Sakuragi on the right foot of Golden Lion Shiki. Longbread, you just need to watch it next. Big Brother is just here to explore a secret. Golden Lion Shiki rode. What secret? Longbread asked in a deep voice. It's about Linlin's childhood. Where did the nun in the photo she treasured go to, and how did Linlin get the soul fruit ability that originally belonged to the nun? Golden Lion Shiki opened his mouth with surprise. To be honest, I was shocked when I heard Big Brother talking about these secrets. I didn't expect Linlin to have such an interesting secret. Hey, Longbread, Linlin has been with you since childhood. Do you know what strange things happened more than 60 years ago? Golden Lion Shiki smiled and looked at the Longbread. When things happened in here, Golden Lion Shiki talk about the year. The Longbread's forehead was covered in cold sweat for a while. That year happened on that island. That horrific incident of the birthday party in the sheep's house. He was the only witness. Even after so many years, every time he thinks of that scene, he shudders. Then let me take a look. Just when Longbread was pale, and he was still immersed in some terrible memory of the past. Other side, Roland's palm was placed on the forehead of the unconscious Charlotte Linlin. Mind reading observation hockey's advanced ability, memory reading, is activated. Of the four emperors, Charlotte Linlin flashed past Luo Lin's eyes like a revolving lantern. Luo Lin selectively skipped the bitter and bloody grievances between Charlotte Linlin and her dozens of husbands. Freeze the memory on the day of his 6th birthday. Blood covered Roland's sight. Demon whispered in Roland's ear. The reading of memory is only a momentary effort. Next second, Roland withdrew his right hand. One of the secrets in his heart is revealed. He has seen everything. Who? Luo Lin opened his mouth slightly, and let out a long mouthful of turbid air. A drop of cold sweat ran down his face. A supreme being like him standing at the top of the world, no matter how terrifying things he faces, he can't shake his state of mind. However, now Rao is in existence like Luo Lin, and after seeing such a scene with his own eyes, he also shuddered. Paramesha soul fruit. The devil fruit ability involving the most mysterious soul level of the human body is indeed extraordinary. It's even possible to do this. Rebirth. Abandoning your old body, leaving only your soul, invading and controlling another body with unlimited potential. That was originally thought to only happen in fantasy stories will actually appear in this world. This kind of operation, even Roland couldn't help being shocked. But what Sister Carmelite didn't expect was that Charlotte Linlin's talent was too high. Even as a child, the strength of the soul is far beyond that of others. She was in a weak position and was almost wiped out. In the end, they had no choice but to choose the coexistence route. Use your own spirit to influence and manipulate Charlotte Linlin's innocent thoughts. But sometimes, Charlotte Linlin's own consciousness will overshadow Sister Carmelite's soul. It's like when you have an eating disorder, or when you are seriously injured and fall into the sea. Gia ha 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 ha, Big Brother, what's the matter, do you know? Golden Lion Shiki flew to Roland's side and asked with a laugh. Ah. Roland nodded. Take it easy. A dagger appeared in his right hand. Stop. The chef's Longbread turned pale in horror. What are you going to do to Mom? Smoothie, Perospero and the others who followed boldly had their faces changed greatly, and they lost their voices in horror. Next second, under the shocked and stunned gazes of Golden Lion Shiki and Big Mom, blood splattered. But not Charlotte Linlin. Tick-tock, was the sound of the blood from Luo Lin's palm dripping onto the four emperors. Charlotte Linlin. Soul fruit ability. Sister Carmel, I want to see what other storms you can make. Roland grinned. Chapter 505 Golden Lion. The next moment is to witness the miracle. 1/4. Queen Mother Anthem, Captain's Room. And puzzled gazes of Chef Longbread, Smoothie, Sparrow and other ant cadres. Opened his palm with the dagger wrapped around armament hockey. In an instant there was blood. Crystal clear blood beads like blood diamonds emerged one by one. Then, in a ticking sound, it dripped onto the wound of the 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin. Seeing this unusual scene, the aunts and cadres in the room couldn't help but widen their eyes in shock. All the faces were filled with doubt and confusion. I couldn't understand what Roland, who was supposed to be the enemy, was doing at the moment. Don't tell me. Chef Longbread frowned. After a while, as if thinking of some previous legends, a pair of old eyes suddenly widened. Hero Roland, what are you doing this time? Dressed in a red tight dress, with red high-heeled shoes on her feet, among the oddly shaped brothers and sisters, Charlotte Galette, the butter minister who is considered a good figure, widened her beautiful eyes and scolded uneasily. He actually cut open that tough body that couldn't even be hurt by the heavy blows of the 4 emperors. What kind of trouble is this? Charlotte Montdor screamed, her face full of absurdity. Everyone pay attention to that. The blood of heroes, why does it give me a different feeling that it doesn't seem to be ordinary blood? Bray, the mirror fruit capable, exclaimed. Sure enough, the blood of the hero is very wrong. He must be trying to do something bad to his mother with his blood. It's not good, it's really bad. All the ant ministers and cadres all looked nervous. Who will stop the blood of hero Roland? The long-legged paddling star Smoothie also shouted nervously. Gia ha 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 ha, the little devils of the Linlin family, stop screaming and watch me quietly. Golden Lion Shikihaki's side-splitting laughter echoed in the captain's room. Under the shock of Shiki's conqueror, all the ministers gathered at the door were subconsciously silent. Next is the moment to witness the miracle. Golden Lion Shiki has a mysterious grin on Isho. Puff Tower. After Shiki's voice fell, a faint echo of the captain's room echoed in the silence. Puff Tower. That's Mom's voice. Hearing the familiar voice, the ant and all the ministers couldn't help but lift their spirits. Caramel Puff Tower. None, everyone, where have you all been? Come and eat with Linlin. 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin's groaning became clearer. The sturdy arms that were drooping even waved, as if trying to grab something. Mom is awake. I can't believe that with such a serious injury, my mother woke up so quickly. Obviously the ship doctor said it will take at least a week. As expected of our mother. Sparrow, Oven, Daifuku and others were all happy and smugly laughing. No, brothers. Charlotte Bray exclaimed as she looked at the close-up scene reflected in the mirror. This is. The brothers and sisters beside Bree all showed a ghostly expression. Mom's wound is healing. Is it because of that hero's blood? Charlotte Galette unconsciously raised her slender hands and covered her red lips, preventing herself from screaming. The hero Luo Lin used his own blood to heal his mother's wound. What a joke. Wow, there was an uproar in the room. Looking at the scene reflected in Bree's mirror, the 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin's terrifying stab wound that almost traverses the entire upper body, faintly visible visceral stab wounds, at this moment, with the blood dripping from Luo Lin's palm, it is actually at a speed that is visible to the naked eye. Healing. Such a miraculous sight made all the ministers widen their eyes. His face was filled with extreme shock and disbelief. That's true, but why would you bastard, Luo Lin, do such a thing? It's not good for you, right? Chef Longbread screamed in shock. Gia ha 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 ha, is there any benefit? You will know right away. Golden Lion Shiki laughed expectantly. Charlotte Linlin, the 4 emperors who ruled the sea, is about to become Luo Lin's follower girl, which is really an interesting thing. Just when Golden Lion Shiki was thinking about that interesting picture with anticipation on his face. Field. Roland's mind moved. The wound on the palm healed in an instant. with the last drop of blood falling. For Emperor Charlotte Linlin's savage stab wound across his upper body was completely healed. The breath that had been sluggish to the extreme suddenly became stronger. Swish, in the dark. A pair of big eyes of copper bells flashing with a strange light suddenly opened. Caramel Puff Tower. Charlotte Linlin, who woke up from a coma from a serious injury, let out a strange roar full of madness. Not good. Mom's eating disorder attacks. Chapter 506 Brachiosaurus Bomb. Tame Big Mom. Open black lens bracket 2/4 for subscription close black lens bracket. Puff Tower. Give me the caramel Puff Tower. Wait. Thieves, ministers and cadres cheered by Charlotte Linlin's awakening. Swept the audience with the powerful hockey. All the people in the hall were invariably painful, and covered their ears tightly. It's Mom's weird noise. Not good. Could it be that my mother's eczema attacked? It's the worst, but it's so hard to die, why is it at this time? Head chef, think of a way. A group of ant cadres kept their heads and squatted in defense, screaming in horror at their throats. However, before their voices could spread far, they were completely overshadowed by the shrill and strange voice of the four emperors Charlotte Linlin. Gia haha, I haven't heard it for decades, Linlin's strange cry. Golden Lion Shaki also covered his ears and grinned, obviously not feeling well. Luo Lin was the only one in the field who was always as calm as ever. Even the strange voice mixed with Conqueror Hockey didn't change the look on his face in the slightest. For a long time. Strange sound that enveloped the cabin finally subsided. However, the situation did not improve in the slightest because of this, but only worsened. Charlotte Linlin, the four emperors in the state of eczema, is like a crazy destruction machine. Before you eat what you want, the desire to destroy will expand indefinitely. Boom! The mothership, the Queen Mother anthem, was shaking violently at this moment. At the same time, outside deck. It took a long time for all the anti-sub combatants to finally recover from the hockey shock of the hero Roland. But don't wait for them to breathe out. A sharp, strange sound followed. Ah ah ah. The horrific screams came again and again. It's Mom's weird noise. What the hell is going on in there? Big Mom pirates on the deck held their heads in their hands and screamed in horror. The attack of the four emperors Charlotte Linlin's strange sounds, the beasts in the crowd stationed 100 meters away naturally had no chance of being spared. Fuck, what kind of unpleasant sound is this? Pandemic Queen hugged her head and complained. It was she who woke up. Fire Calamity was also shocked. Boom, just after the words of Yan Jajin fell. The bells and whistles of the mothership of the Big Mother are shaken. A dense cobweb-like crack appeared on the hull, and then exploded with a bang. Countless wooden boards, sawdust shot into the sky and a huge gap appeared on the mothership. In the darkness of the gap, a pair of crimson lit up, exuding a breathtaking terrifying pressure. A pair of big fat hands first appeared in people's sight. Immediately after, along with the footsteps of shaking the ground, the four emperors Charlotte Linlin's crazy gesture appeared. Caramel Puff Tower. Charlotte Linlin raised her head and screamed sharply. One step down. The Baroness ripped open a huge ravine. Fuck you, that auntie is finally crazy. The Plague Queen screams. This is really bad. The giant beauty Black Maria's eyes widened. Do we have to run, Mr. Jin? Peggy Wan suggested in a panic. Run. Yan Calamity's words were concise, and with a sigh, he transformed into a toothless pterosaur, and immediately rose into the sky. See you. The beasts and the crowd were all stunned. Even Peggy Wan, who suggested running away, was stunned. After all, he is just saying it casually. According to Yan Zonjin's strong character in the past, how could he run away so decisively? Ha ha ha, stupid Jin, you have it too. Rarely caught the Plague Queen when Yan Zon was cowardly, just wanted to taunt. Next moment. The unfinished ridicule was choked, and then turned into a groan, echoing on the wasteland. Because the crazy four Emperor Charlotte Linlin came towards them. Ah 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 ah. The screams of the beast pirates came one after another. Caramel Puff Tower. 4 Emperor Charlotte Linlin screamed. I only have a Zuki bean soup here, and no puff towers. You go after others. Unfortunate to be targeted by the epidemic, the queen of the epidemic runs wild. Caramel Puff Tower. The 4 Emperors Charlotte Linlin was still screaming. You crazy old woman, that's all you can say. Caramel Puff Tower. If that's the case, then don't be a monster. The Plague Queen gritted her teeth and stomped her feet. Dragon fruit ancient form of giant Brachiosaurus. Brachiosaurus bomb. The Plague Queen's powerful headbutt exploded. Caramel Puff Tower. Charlotte Linlin opened her thick arms and hugged Queen's Brachiosaurus head. Boom, in a loud noise. The huge Brachiosaurus weighing not knowing how many tons was attacked by the Caramel Puff Tower, and fell to the ground. Eyes, he fainted. Ah ah ah. Even Lord Queen. Don't come over here, you monster. Go to the other side. Ants bastards, think of a way. The crowd of beasts screamed in anger. Long bread, think of a way, if there is no puff tower, mother will never wake up. Sparrow cried out in horror. I know, but the materials in the kitchen are basically exhausted, and I can't do anything about it. Long bread said anxiously. Mr. Shiki, please help us prepare some dessert ingredients, please. Bree looked at Golden Lion Shiki earnestly. Gia ha 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 ha, with my eldest brother here, where do you need any puff towers, just watch it, the next thing is. The moment to witness the miracle again. Golden Lion Shiki laughed confidently. Chapter 507 Shocked. One word to stop the runaway ant. Open black lens bracket 3/4 for subscription close black lens bracket. Gia ha 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 ha, the next thing is. The moment to witness the miracle once again. Golden Lion Shiki laughed confidently and smugly. Hearing Golden Lion's confident words, aunties, ministers and cadres all looked suspicious. Witness a miracle once again, what miracle can there be? Sparrow sneered. It's over. No one can stop Mom's rampage. Little Lakainu, oven desperate. Who's going to stop Mom's rampage? The long-legged paddling on the other side will shout out the Star Smoothie. Everyone. Sister Smoothie, is this the only line in your lines? Is this the time to care about this? But my mother is on a rampage because of an eating disorder. If this continues, the beast pirates will be wiped out. Alas speaking. That the alliance is broken, the beast pirates are gone. It's not a big deal, it can even be quieter. Just wait until the beasts are gone, then it will be their turn. Thinking of this, Auntie and the pirates feel bad again. Look everyone. Hero Roland. That, the hero is approaching Mom. Just when everyone was at a loss, someone noticed Luo Lin, who appeared in the rampant battlefield at an unknown time. So he couldn't help but scream. That marine hero, what does he want to do this time? Could it be that he wanted to beat his mother into a coma, just like last time, so as to end her rampage? Baron Eggy guessed. How can this be? Is he a toy as our mother? Let him dictate what he wants. If he wants to be cured, he will be cured, and if he wants to be seriously injured, he will be seriously injured. Charlotte Galette scolds. But, this is a solution. Charlotte Daifuku said solemnly. Daifuku, what do you mean? Bree, who has always been submissive, sounded a little harsher. To end my mother's rampage, except Caramel Puff Tower, this is the way, anyway. My mother was rescued by that hero, and no matter how bad it is, she will just fall into a coma again. Sparrow looked indifferent. Brother Peros, you. Why, that's our mother. Shiki, please prepare the puff ingredients for me. Longbread gritted his teeth and made a sincere request to Golden Lion Shiki. Gia ha ha ha, don't be so pessimistic, Longbread, my eldest brother is a miracle man. Golden Lion Shaki grinned Isho. At the same time, a chaotic battlefield hundreds of meters away. Under the madness of the runaway ant, the beasts without the four emperors fell apart in an instant. Even the queen of the three calamities can't go through a round with the power of the runaway ant. The gap between the disaster and the four emperors is obvious. Damn mad woman, don't get too carried away. The irritable old sister Yuluti was provoked and went up desperately. Sister, don't. Peggy Wan, who was in the form of Ridgeback Dragon who witnessed this scene, suddenly screamed in horror. Yet it was too late. Yuluti kicked the fourth emperor Charlotte Linlin's shoulder with all her strength. Yet it remained motionless. Yuluti's furious full-strength attack was not even a tickling for someone with a steel balloon body. It's really a monster. The irritable old sister Yuluti cursed angrily. Aunt Runaway turned her head subconsciously, her bewitching eyes staring at Wuluti. Sister, be careful. Lulu Sauce, be careful. Peggy Wan and the giant beauty Black Maria cried out in horror. In fact, you don't need to be reminded. Rao is as irritable as Yuluti, and at this moment, he is also completely afraid. Every cell in her body seemed to be trembling under the lock of the terrifying chi machine of the four emperors. The body was stiff and unable to move. Caramel Puff Tower. Four Emperors Charlotte Linlin's Caramel Puff Tower, big move exploded again. A big hand as heavy as a mountain slapped down on the stiff Yuluti. If this palm is implemented, it will easily break the bones and tendons. Seriously, it is not impossible to be directly photographed into meat sauce. Old lady. Lulu Sauce. Peggy Wan and Black Maria screamed in horror. Ah, this time it's really over. No, I haven't even talked about my boyfriend yet, so my life won't end like this. Lord God, save me. Yuluti prayed pitifully. Next second. Yuluti's prayers come true. There was a slight, click, sound of footsteps. Enough, stop, Linlin. What followed was a quiet voice. With this calm voice falling, the strong wind brought by the terrifying palm force that penetrated the atmosphere suddenly stopped abruptly. Charlotte Linlin, the four emperors who were in a state of rampage, really stopped. Chapter 508 Wulu. Q. Lord Luolin, I want to give you a monkey open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Enough is enough, Linlin, stop. On the chaotic battlefield where Charlotte Linlin, the four berserk emperors, raged, a calm voice sounded. Sound was not loud, but it was like thunder, echoing in everyone's ears. All the beasts in the crowd fled in panic like headless flies. His gaze subconsciously looked towards the source of the sound. After seeing Roland entering the venue, especially when seeing Roland stop the rampant four Emperor Charlotte Linlin with words, the people in the room all widened their eyes, shocked to the point of incomprehensible. Hey, what the hell is going on? 100 meters away, the aunts who witnessed this scene also fell into extremely shocking emotions. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets in shock. As people among thieves, they have experienced four emperors Charlotte Linlin's eczema attack more than once. That's why they know better than anyone else about the horror of. Until the dessert that he wants to eat, the four emperors Charlotte Linlin's desire to destroy will only expand infinitely. It will never stop on its own. However, right now, as Golden Lion Shaki said earlier, the miracle really appeared again. That, the hero Roland, whom they regard as the most terrifying hero, once again created a miracle in front of them. With just one sentence, he stopped the four emperors, Charlotte Linlin, who ran rampant. This kind of thing is simply unheard of. That man really created a miracle again. Butter Minister Charlotte Garrett let out a coy voice. How on earth did he do it? That's a runaway mother. Charlotte Flamp exclaimed. It's really incredible. Just one sentence stopped my mother's rampage. Is he a god? Have we been against God Sama until now? The thieves were shocked and exclaimed one after another. under the collective gaze of hundreds of beasts and aunts with more than 1,000 shocking eyes. Luo Lin took a step, stepping on the atmosphere step by step, and he was at eye level with the fourth Emperor Charlotte Linlin. You are. Finally, the four emperors Charlotte Linlin, who had been shouting, "Caramel Puff Tower," since the rampage, uttered other words. I don't have the Caramel Puff Tower right now, hold on for a while. Let's go, Linlin. Roland said calmly. Now, no. The four emperors Charlotte Linlin, who was stimulated by the word, no, suddenly turned red, and after finally calming down, there were signs of rampage again. Be obedient, calm down first, Linlin. Roland spoke again like coaxing a child. He heard the gentle whispers of elders ringing in his ears. Charlotte Linlin could only feel the blood surging in her body. The spirit that was close to collapse was stabilized in an instant. Since that's the case, then I'll endure a little longer. The four emperors Charlotte Linlin sat down on the spot, said weakly, with big innocent eyes, and looked at Luo Lin pitifully. By a giant old woman in her 60s with a childlike innocent and pitiful gaze, Luo Lin's mouth twitched involuntarily. A terrifying incident of the four emperors, rampage was settled by Luo Lin in a few words. This scene deeply shocked everyone in the room. At this moment, in the eyes of the beasts and the big mother pirates, Luo Lin's figure standing in the sky is like a god. Among them, the poisonous-tongued sister Wuluti is the most. Looking at the tall and majestic figure in the air, the haze in Wuluti's heart disappeared, and the fear disappeared. A small heart beat violently like a deer. A special feeling that had never been there before spread out from her heart. Quickly overwhelmed all her sanity and occupied her whole body. Lord Roland. For several days, a special emotion that had been backed up in Wuluti's heart broke out. Wuluti shouted loudly, and her body jumped high, jumping into the air. Then he hugged Luo Lin's thigh under the shocking gaze of people. Sister, don't. Peggy Wan screamed in collapse, despairing for his old sister's repeated murderous behavior. After finally getting out of the clutches of Auntie, now I have provoked an even more terrifying god. This workforce is almost as good as Kaido's. Peggy Wan, the younger brother, expressed her heartbreak. Lulu Sauce. Equally frightened as Black Maria. But what shocked her even more was the back. Lord Luo Lin is so handsome, I want to give birth to monkeys for you. Wuluti, who hugged Roland's thigh, cheered loudly. Everyone. Roland. Chapter 509 Peggy Wan, you can have a snack. Ant, dim sum, open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. The four emperors Lot Linlin's runaway incident ended in an extremely shocking way. The prison island is back to peace. However, the shocking emotions in people's hearts could not be recovered for a long time. Especially the people of the four emperor thieves. The mother who went berserk because of eczema actually regained consciousness after a few words from others. This is simply a miracle. Subverted their perceptions. Somehow. Charlotte Linlin who had awakened this time were very different from those in the past. Lord Roland. The young girl full of admiration and love resounded. Peggy Wan and Himaria were both inattentive, and Wuluti broke free from their restraints and approached Roland again. Lulu Sauce. Himaria hurriedly exclaimed and hugged Wuluti who had run away. I said, old lady, that person is the most dangerous man in the world. If he gets impatient, no one can really save you this time. Peggy, with a panicked face, scolded at a loss. Little Pepe, you're really good at it. You dare to preach to my sister. Besides, Mr. Luo Lin won't be impatient with a cute little girl like me, Wuluti, who has always been vicious and irritable, is now full of girlishness. The girl is pregnant with spring, nothing more than that. Watching this transformation happen to Wuluti, a ghostly expression suddenly appeared on Peggy Wan's face. What the hell is going on in this world? Charlotte Linlin, the terrifying four emperors, is just like a child. It's crazy now that even his grumpy old tyrannosaur-like sister has turned into a cute little girl. Peggy Wan felt a little dizzy. Black Maria was also speechless. But no matter what, the other party was the most dangerous man who killed their captain. Have a hostile relationship with them. Sister, it's really embarrassing for you to make me a younger brother like this. Can you make your own snacks? Peggy shook his head helplessly. HMPH, little Pepe. Uluti just wanted to refute, but she stopped abruptly in the middle of her words. A pair of beautiful eyes suddenly widened. The same goes for Black Maria, who hugs her. A look of panic appeared on her fair face. What's the matter, ma'am? Peggy Wan was keenly aware of an unpleasant atmosphere. Next second. That ominous premonition without being reminded. A huge shadow suddenly enveloped his body. He felt the terrifying aura behind him that was like an ancient beast. Peggy Wan's body couldn't help but swayed and shivered. His head turned stiffly. It just happened to meet the mouth of the four emperors, Charlotte Linlin, who was drooling. Hey, did you say dim sum just now? Where is the dim sum? The four emperors, Charlotte Linlin said expectantly. Gah, ah. Peggy Wan's breathing was stagnant, and even the blood all over his body coagulated and stopped flowing. Little Pepe, give her some snacks. Uluti said weakly. Although she was rescued by Luo Lin before, Charlotte Linlin's palm did not fall on her. But the pressure and fear at that time were already deeply rooted in people's hearts. Lao lao lao, old lady, where do I have a little bit of snacks? Peggy was about to cry. I can't figure out why this crazy aunt suddenly found him. Asked him for snacks and so on. Peggy Wan seemed to have thought of something. Dim sum is long dim sum. Lying down, fuck. Peggy Wan, who had figured it all out, couldn't help but lie in a big groove. He just reminded his old sister to have some snacks. As a result, when I heard this four emperors' aunt's ears, it automatically became a snack. I will never again ask others to grow dim sum. Peggy thought with tears in her eyes. Where is the dim sum? The four emperors, Charlotte Linlin asked again. Ha ha. Peggy Wan let out a ha ha, and his dodging gaze swept to the Plague Queen, who just got up not far away. Mr. Queen, can you lend me your azuki bean soup for emergencies? Peggy Wan asked in a trembling voice. Queen not be aware of the situation on Peggy Wan's side, watching the epidemic in 6 directions and listening to all directions. Hearing that Peggy Wan asked him for his favorite azuki bean soup, the queen of the epidemic froze suddenly, and then fell straight to the ground again. Start the second play dead. The first time was when he was thrown to the ground by his aunt's back. Peggy Wan. Don't play like this. If there is no dessert. Four emperors, Charlotte Linlin's voice gradually became cold. Feeling the threat in the cold words, Peggy Wan was about to be frightened. Okay, Linlin, bear with me for a while. Let's make a cake for you right away. Roland appeared at the right time and spoke calmly. To Peggy Wan's ears, Roland's voice, which used to be more terrifying than a demon, was now as friendly as an angel. Simply, the most beautiful sound in the world. Chapter 510 Aunt of the Four Emperors, Big Brother. Open black lens bracket 2/4 for subscription close black lens bracket. Hero Mr. Rollins. Looking at Luo Lin, who appeared in front of him in time to save the scene again. Peggy Wan's inner emotion was like a surging river, which was endless. Originally, he heard a voice that was no different from the whispers of the god of death, but now it was like the most beautiful fairy music in the world. After all, this voice, for him, is a lifesaver. Pudden narrowly escaped. Peggy Wan, who had walked on the brink of death for a while, suddenly fell to his knees. Both hands hugged Luo Lin's thigh, just like Uluti before. All I can say is that they are brothers and sisters. Roland chuckled and shook his head. Ah, little Pepe, what are you doing? Only I can hold Lord Roland's thigh. Waiting, Luo Lin had something to say, and Uluti, who was on the side, was the first to sit still. He quickly dragged Peggy Wan, who was holding his thighs, away, and began to scold and teach him a lesson. Yes yes yes. 4. Older sister Yuludi's lesson. Pejuan just kept nodding her head. No more half-sentence complaints. At this moment, his inner thoughts have also undergone a 180-degree change. Originally, in his opinion, Roland was like a demon possessing the power of a god. If my old sister rushed to the door, she would definitely be eaten and wiped clean by the devil, leaving no bones behind. But think about it now. Doesn't seem to be a bad thing if the old lady can actually go to base, although it's not fair to the dead Captain Kaido. Really exciting to have the strongest brother-in-law in the world. Peggy couldn't help but think longingly. It's just, I think that the person who is going to be the hero of the Marine. And there is also a goddess-level opponent like Vice Admiral Crane, Marine's Chief Staff Officer. Peggy Wan had a headache. The hope of my elder sister's superiority is really slim. Alas. Peggy Wan sighed helplessly. 4. What Peggy Wan had in mind. Now Roland has no time to pay attention to it. At this moment, facing the 4 Emperor Charlotte Linlin, Luo Lin couldn't help but have some headaches. Since eldest brother has said so, then Linlin will endure for a while. Okay, but eldest brother, when can we have a snack? Charlotte Linlin stared at Roland unblinkingly with big innocent eyes that didn't quite match her appearance. Roland. People on the side. Big brother. The dead silence only lasted for the next second. The cauldron exploded again on the wasteland. Hey, I heard something just now. My ears must be wrong. 100 Beasts and 6 Sons, Fishman Sasaki's strange cry. Big brother that. 4 emperors actually called the hero Big Brother Luo Lin. What the hell is a pirate joke? The Plague Queen, who was lying on the ground and pretending to be dead, jumped up, her voice raised more than an octave. First it was Golden Lion Shiki, and now it's 4 emperors' aunt. What the hell did that man do? Embers flying in the air are also being scorched by Charlotte Linlin's big brother lay at this moment. Almost fell from the sky. To the ground. Even the beasts and the crowd are like this. Not to mention the ministers and cadres of the thief's family. When I heard the big brother from my mother's mouth, all the ant cadres and ministers only felt that the worldview was broken. Hey, what a joke. Hero Roland, what the hell did you do to our mother? Mom, that person is the enemy. Mom, look at us, we are your family. Daifuku, Oven, Mont d'Or, Flamp, Brie and others all shouted anxiously. Who will wake up mommy? The long-legged paddling shouts out the star smoothie. Longbread, do you know what the hell is going on? Why doesn't mom know us anymore? Sparrow was so terrified that he almost bit off his long tongue. I see. Longbread suddenly screamed, attracting the attention of the cadres of the ant. Linlin has amnesia again. Longbread said solemnly. What? Nani? Amnesia. Again. All the children and ministers of the Big Mother group are full of question marks. Yes, it must be because of falling into the sea that Linlin has amnesia again. This happened before. Longbread for sure. He thought of a similar accident that happened decades ago. It's not good that mom has amnesia. Now my mother is obviously much closer to that. Hero. If this goes on, my mother will be abducted. How is this good? If only Pudding was here. Yeah, Pudding's memory fruit will definitely be able to help mother restore her memory. All the ant cadres were secretly anxious. She was confused by the sudden amnesia of the 4 emperors. Just when everyone was thinking about countermeasures. Heavy footsteps sounded. Rollins is gone. So naturally, the 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin, who had become a little girl's mind, followed Luo Lin's pace step by step. Mom. Don't go with him, mother. We are your family. Sparrow and the others suddenly shouted anxiously. Raise your feet to catch up. Gia ha ha ha. Big laughter sounded. A huge golden sword energy slashed the earth. Draw a dividing line in front of the big mother pirates. Golden Lion Shiki, what are you doing? Chapter 511 Beasts, Big Mom Farming Group. Nami was stunned. Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. Ka. The earth cracked open a huge ravine. Due to the slash of the flying swordsman Golden Lion Shiki of the previous era. Under the threat of the Golden Lion's fierce sword intent. Big Mom pirates who wanted to catch up to stop the amnesia ant all stopped in unison. Looked up at the Golden Lion Shiki in midair in shock. Golden Lion Shiki, what the hell are you doing? Sparrow snarled. Gia ha. Linlin made his own decision to go with my eldest brother. You, children, just watch silently and support. You don't need to send it away. Golden Lion Shiki laughed. What did you say? Who's going to deliver? How can we watch our mother follow the enemy? What the hell are you trying to do to our amnesia mother? All the ant cadres and ministers were emotional and scolded sharply. Gia ha, don't be afraid, little devils, if you really want Linlin back, it's not impossible. Golden Lion Shiki grinned Isho. Really? It's true. Mont d'Or, Galette and others couldn't help but look happy. Of course. Golden Lion nodded. It's just that if that guy Linlin gets sick again because he wants to eat cake, you can only solve it yourself, but we won't provide any more help. Ha. Ga. Heard this from Golden Lion Shiki. The Big Mom pirate suddenly solidified. No. Absolutely not. Just let that crazy ant follow me, she must never come back for me. Damn, you guys have figured it out. Waiting. Auntie everyone speaks up. The cadres of the beasts on the side took the lead in frying the pot and sternly refused. They really didn't want to experience a scene like hell like before. Listening to the complaints and cursing of the bitter master and the beasts, although the ant and everyone were annoyed in their hearts, it was difficult to refute them on their lips. After all, it was true before. Their mother went mad, and it was indeed their beasts who suffered. Besides, this time it was the beasts who suffered, next time I don't know who it is. Think so. That it is not so unacceptable to let the ant who will go berserk at any time follow Luo Lin. Gia ha, it seems that you are clear, then let's discuss another matter. Golden Lion Shiki spoke again. Golden Lion Shiki, tell me, what the hell does that Shang Luo Lin want us to do? Blazing ember in the form of a toothless pterosaur looking up at the Golden Lion. Gia ha, don't be afraid, my eldest brother didn't want to kill you like this, it's just. Golden Lion roared. Just. The officials of 100 Beasts and Big Mom couldn't help but sigh. Gia ha. Golden Lion Shiki waved his hands suddenly. Whoosh, there was a sound of breaking wind in the sky. Immediately after, three sacks fell from the sky, falling in front of the beasts and the pirates. What is this? Seed. What are you giving us this? The pirates were puzzled, and their faces were full of doubts. Gia ha, this is what my eldest brother wants you to do. Quote. You guys, pirates, don't do production, think about robbing others all day long, and then let you do it yourself and have enough food and clothing. Golden Lion roared. What? The two Emperor pirates were dumbfounded. Is this what it means to let them farm the land? Are you kidding me? If it's spread out, how are they still hanging out in this sea? Also, you guys, what do you mean by pirates? Golden Lion Shiki, aren't you a pirate yourself? You are, the biggest pirate boss in the sea. Gia ha, come on, little devils, when will this wasteland be full of crops and food? You will have the hope of freedom. Golden Lion Shiki roared. Immediately, there was no waiting. The cadres of the two emperors complained and burst into the sky amid laughter. Mr. Jin, what do we do now? Brother Peros, do we really want to farm? The officials of the two emperors were all messed up. Of course there are exceptions. Isn't this a little bean seed? Come, and plant it all for Lao Su. The strange brain circuit of the epidemic queen's surprise opening. Little Pepe, let's work hard together. When the land is planted, I will be able to marry Lord Luolin. Yulu T said vigorously. Sister, what are you dreaming about in this broad day? Peggy Wan stroked her forehead. At the same time, Shiki and Amnesia 3, who left the desert island of Paradise Prison at a height of 10,000 meters, returned to the Paradise Resort Island, which is 7,000 meters high. Rolingo. When I saw Roland's return, Nami, who had just cruised the island, came forward in surprise. The surprised expression on Nami's face froze when she saw Charlotte Linlin, the 4 emperors, who followed Luo Lin step by step. Luo, brother Luo Ling, aunt. 4 emperors will follow you. Nami opened her mouth in panic. Roland nodded calmly. Hey, big brother, when are you going to have something to eat? Charlotte Linlin held her fingers and spoke weakly. Nami. Chapter 512 Nami who is a hooligan when she is drunk open black lens bracket 4 quarters for subscription close black lens bracket. Paradise Resort Island Central Manor. Nami, who happily went out to welcome Roland's return, saw Charlotte Linlin, the 4 terrifying emperors who followed Roland's footsteps. So the happy smile on Nami's face suddenly solidified, and a pair of beautiful eyes suddenly widened. But the next moment, something even more shocking happened to Nami. Big brother. Listening to the name that popped out of the mouth of the terrifying 4 emperors, the little girl Nami was completely dumbfounded, her body was like petrification, and she stood still, motionless. Big brother, is this brother Luo Lin? What kind of wind is blowing here today? The most terrifying old woman on the sea, the 4 emperors Lot Linlin is like a child. I can't be hallucinating, or saying this is my dream. Besides, why did she fall into the sea and die in a big event, and the 4 emperors, whose life and death are unknown, will appear here? She will not come to me because of my influence and manipulation of Zeus. Trouble. At this moment, Nami's always clever little brain is already in a mess. Even though there are thousands of ideas, they can't come up with a clue. Gia ha, Nami girl, don't think about it if you don't understand. I'll talk to you slowly at the banquet later. Golden Lion Shiki dashed up from the sky and laughed. Hey, big brother, I want to eat cake. The 4 emperors Charlotte Linlin spoke weakly again. This pitiful appearance is the complete opposite of the past, domineering and cruel. Listening to Charlotte Linlin's name for herself, Raour Luo Lin couldn't help grinning, and she was really a little embarrassed. Forget it, little girl Nami, let's go in and talk about it. Roland shook his head and touched Nami's little head with his big hand. Under Roland's head touching, Nami finally came back to her senses and nodded. 10 minutes later. Manor Ballroom. What? The 4 emperor thieves and the remnants of the beast pirates who escaped in Buster Call are all Lao Jin. You caught them and now they are locked 3 kilometers above our heads. Nami exclaimed in surprise. Gia ha, that's it. Golden Lion Shiki laughed smugly and proudly. Gudong. Under the shocking emotional stimulation, Nami sipped a whole bottle of spirits, her face flushed red under the stimulation of the wine. He raised his hand to wipe the wine stain from the corner of his mouth. Nami's gaze fell on Charlotte Linlin, the 4 emperors who were stuttering in the hall, as if thinking of something. A few days ago, the 4 emperors were seriously injured, so that's all time, even the 4 emperors can never recover so quickly, so there is only one truth. Nami held out a finger. Could it be that Brother Rolling used his own blood to treat Charlotte Linlin? Nami guessed. Gia ha, as expected of Nami. Wait, what Rollins said? Golden Lion Shiki laughed again, confirming Nami's guess. Gudong, said nothing. Nami drank a bottle of wine again. The little girl's family, drink less. Rollins reminded. Okay, Rolling, hiccup. Nami responded obediently, and then burped. Next moment. Under the influence of alcoholism, Nami's figure suddenly swayed. And, his head tilted, and he fell into Luo Lin's arms completely drunk. But it's not over yet. Although she was in a state of intoxication, it seemed that Nami's consciousness had not completely lost. A pair of drunken eyes are hazy, and the slender hands and jade feet are even more dishonest. She looks like a drunken hooligan. Hiccup. It can't go on like this, even the fourth emperor's aunt. Hiccup. Nami murmured unconsciously in her mouth, making it unreal. But not a problem for Roland, who has mind-reading observation hockey. Shiki, I'll take the little girl Nami to rest first, and I'll drink with you later. Roland spoke up. Gia ha 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 ha, let's go, big brother, it's okay to come later. Golden Lion Shiki had an I understand expression on his old face. Looking at Shiki's awkward posture, Roland couldn't help but full of black lines on his forehead. However, the top priority now is to send the little girl Nami to wake up. Roland hugged Nami. Space capability activated. In an instant, he disappeared from the banquet hall. The reappearance is already in the cabin of the Going Arc Proverbs. The entrance, it is full of golden going products. Her favorite going, Nami should be a little quieter. Rollins thought so. But this time, the situation was slightly different from what he expected. Just as Roland was about to leave, a slender hand grabbed the corner of his shirt. Brother Roland, don't go. Nami opened her big bright eyes, and her mind became slightly more awake. What's the matter, little girl Nami, you should have a good rest now. Roland rode. Nami pursed her lips, but did not speak. A delicate little face blushed, half because of alcoholism, and half because of what she was saying in her heart at the moment. She knew that even if she didn't say it, Luo Lin could hear her heart. This is indeed the case. It's just, when Roland was silent, Nami, who was sitting on the boat couch, suddenly stood up, stood on tiptoe, and wrapped her slender hand around Roland's neck. A kiss. Love. Chapter 513. I am the man who wants to be the king of marine. Open black lens bracket 1/4 for subscription. Close black lens bracket. The afternoon sun was blazing hot. The birds in the forest are in pairs. The fish frolic in the water. And in the going house. From noon to dusk. The sun is gradually setting in the west. The sunset turned the sky into a fiery red. Gorgeous. 7,000 meters in the sky, Paradise Holiday Island. The central manor, the deserted banquet continues. Ma. This is the four emperors. Charlotte Linlin laughing happily. All afternoon. After eating an unknown number of hill-like cakes. Charlotte Linlin's body and mind have been greatly satisfied. That had lost weight due to a lot of physical exertion has returned to its usual plumpness. Gia ha ha ha, Linlin, if you're full, there are still a lot of cakes. Golden Lion Shiki takes a sip of wine. I am full, Linlin is full, I am so happy. The four emperors. Charlotte Linlin lay down on the ground with her head raised, with a contented expression on her face. Gia ha 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 ha, since this is the case, I will work hard for the big brother in the future, and the delicious cakes are guaranteed to be enough. Golden Lion Shiki laughed. In response to him is a series of sound. Charlotte Linlin, the four emperors who had all-you-can-eat cakes, fell asleep. Golden Lion Shiki. Alas. The other side. The little lowly-going Joe, who was sitting by the window, pressed her chin against the windowsill and sighed softly. Gia ha ha ha, what's the matter, Marianne? Golden Lion Shiki asked. Boss, brother and Nami, why haven't you come back? Little lowly going opened her mouth with a lonely face on Monday. Gia ha 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 ha, big brother they are not here, grandpa is still here, yo. With a bright smile like a chrysanthemum on the old face of Golden Lion Shiki, he leaned forward. Little lolly-going Joe raised her little hand and pushed the old face of Golden Lion Shiki away. Ugly reject. Ah. Golden Lion Shiki suddenly showed a wronged look. Little lolly-going Joe took out a mirror from her small bag. In the mirror, he couldn't help but sigh again. I really want to grow up quickly. ... Another hour. The sky gradually darkened. Shiki. The footsteps sounded along with Roland's voice. Gia ha 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 ha, big brother, you are finally back. Golden Lion Shiki stepped forward with a big laugh. But before him, Going Joe, who was already sleepy enough to doze off, rushed out first and jumped into Luo Lin's arms. He breathed in the familiar taste with big mouthfuls, and the loneliness on his face was instantly swept away. What's the matter, little girl Marion? Roland asked inexplicably. His big hand fell on top of her head and gently stroked. Gia ha 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 ha, it's not because you guys have been gone for too long, Marion is lonely. Golden Lion Shiki rode. Well, then we'll stay here for 2 more days, and then we'll bring Vivi, Robin and the others over to play together. Roland rode. Really? Hearing this, little Lolita Going Joe's eyes suddenly lit up. Of course. Roland nodded naturally. Yeah. ... The next 2 days. Walked around the island with a little lowly Going Joe like a daughter. Occasionally, he will go to the prison island at a height of 10,000 meters to supervise the progress of the beasts and the ants farming. As for the night time, of course, it must be given to another little girl. 2 days passed in a flash. Gia ha 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 ha, big brother, you can go back at ease. I will speed up the completion of the holiday island, waiting for you to come. I will also watch Linlin. Golden Lion Shiki laughed. Ah, with you watching, I can rest assured. Roland grinned. Golden Lion Shiki, who was affirmed by Roland, suddenly performed a backflip like a monkey. Goodbye boss brother, goodbye Nami. Little Lolita Going Joe waved her hand to say goodbye. Marion, we'll see you soon, hee hee. With a bright smile on Nami's face, she waved goodbye. Chi-chi, dark blue current flows through the hull, driving the electrical system. Going, arc proverbs slowly flew into the sky and returned to the direction of Weisung. At this moment, Weisung Gateway Island. A Marine Ordinary class warship slowly approached. Bow of the warship, stood 3 young men in marine cloaks. A man as broad as an iron tower. A swordsman with 2 swords with flowing lavender hair. In the center is a young man with flaming hair. Captain Dory, Marine is approaching ahead. Cassie the Giant reported loudly. Baba, Marine's warship, that may have come to find Luo Lin. It's all right, Oimo, go tell everyone. Red Ghost Brigi Road. Ji ja, let me ask who it is. Blue Ogre Dory got up and walked to the shore with ground-shaking steps. Gurrant, look, it's really a giant watching the door. Burnham, a strong man with a broad body like an iron tower, exclaimed in surprise. That giant is the Blue Ogre Dory, the former captain of the giant pirates, who offered a bounty of 100 million Bailey. Zeppa, the dual-blade swordsman, opened his mouth. Pirates, hum. A young man with a red flame head and a scar on the corner of his mouth grins Isho. Hey, Marine in front, who are you looking for in Weisung? Blue Ogre Dory asked loudly. Bow of the warship, the flame-headed young Grant jumped high, and a large piece of steam suddenly rose from his left hand. Blue Ogre Dory with a bounty of 100 million Baileys, remember the name of the person who is about to defeat you. I am Grant, the person who will become Marshal of Marine in the future. Boom. Chapter 514 The Disciple of Admiral Kuzan Open black lens bracket 2/4 seeking full order close black lens bracket. Listen, giant pirate, my name is Grant, and I will be the man who will become Marshal Marine in the future. The high roar of the youth with flaming hair resounded over the portal island, shaking the 4 fields. Chi, at the same time. His left arm, which was wrapped in special machinery, suddenly burst into a large stream of scorching steam, like Zephyr's shredder. The power of terror is accumulating. The sea is filled with ripples. Feeling the terrifying power contained in the young man's left arm, Captain Blue Ogre Dory's expression darkened. A stern look flashed across his face. Ja, what an amazing boy, come on. Blue Ogre Dory slapped the shield made of Wabo with his great sword, ready to attack. Next second, the young Grant, who aspires to become the Marine King, has completed the accumulation of power in his left arm. Moon step. The air crackled under his feet. A conspicuous steam rainbow flashed across the sky. Blast towards the Blue Ogre Dory on the Gateway Island. The sound of, dang, resounded through the sea as crisp as hammered iron. A shock wave of terrifying power spreads around Dory and Grant. Wind made the old trees on the island lean and squeak. Boom! Grant's force on the mechanical arm exploded twice. The dent in the special Wabo alloy shield held by Blue Ogre Dory. Aware of the increasingly terrifying power, Blue Ogre Dory, the former captain of the giant pirate, couldn't help but change his expression. The footsteps retreated involuntarily, leaving deep footprints one by one on the ground of the island. What? Nani? Captain Dory was beaten backwards by that little guy. Witnessing this shocking scene, the giants Cassie and Omoy widened their eyes in shock. They looked at each other, all with ghostly expressions on their faces. Baba, Dory, you're really good, you were forced back by a kid. Brigitte, the red ghost on the adjacent island, laughed. Shut up, Brigitte, this little monster of marine. Blue Ogre Dory spoke in a deep voice. Looking at the flame-headed young Grant, and then at the fist print of the alloy shield on his hand, his eyelids couldn't help but jump. Fortunately, the new shield that Roland gave me is of a special material. If it was the previous one, it might have been shattered. This kid is really not easy. Blue Ogre Dory couldn't help thinking. Tada! Just when the giants were secretly shocked, the sound of footsteps suddenly came from the sky. A slender figure with long dark blue hair stepped on the moon step and arrived. Ain, who came to check the situation after receiving the news. You are Grant. Ain recognized the young flame-headed youth on the island below. Yin Chan, long time no see, Yin Chan. Wait, what? The flame-headed youth Gurant said. Zephyr, the dual-blade swordsman on the warship, was the first to exclaim in surprise. A face that was supposed to be stylish suddenly turned into a pig brother, just like Sanji. Pop, looking at Brother Pig who was stepping on the moon step and approaching him, Ayan decisively stepped on his face and kicked him into the sea. Ha ha ha, that's true. Strong Marine Burnham laughs. Yo, isn't this Yin? It's been a long time. The coast of the island, Grant looked at his old acquaintance Ain and couldn't help grinning Isho. Grant, what are you doing here this time? Ain asked. We were entrusted by Mr. Admiral Kuzan to deliver a letter to the hero Roland. Grunt rode. Kuzan Admiral sent a letter to Mr. Roland. No, Mr. Roland delivered a letter. Ain frowned slightly. Knowing that it's almost the end of the question, it's not something she can get to the bottom of. If that's the case, then come in with me first. Ain said calmly. After saying that, he turned around and went back to the city. Grant glanced at Blue Ogre Dory. Although I really want to continue to fight with it, the task is still urgent at the moment. After all, this is something that his lazy teacher has entrusted to him. We must make sure that the letter is handed over to that hero. Besides, Grant is also very curious about that. The legendary hero who defeated the two great alliances of the four emperors with the power of one person. Grant. Beau of the warship, Burnham greeted Grant, who was lost in thought. Come. Guranti nodded and stepped back on the moon step. The warship passed through the huge portal, and not far ahead, the magnificent Watchung came into everyone's eyes. 3 minutes later, the warship sailed into the crescent-shaped bay and officially landed in Waesung. When they saw the people gathered in Watchung Square, the faces of Gurrent and others on the warship all showed extremely shocked expressions. Chapter 515 The Duel Between One Piece, King of Pirates and King Marine Open black lens bracket 3/4 for subscription closed black lens bracket. The huge Watchung Square is crowded with people at the moment. More than 40,000 soldiers gathered in one place. A lot of noise and excitement. After 3 days of working out. What's going on in the square today is the division of the team. The 40,000 soldiers who jumped from Marine originally belong to different formations. The level of strength between them is also uneven. For more effective targeted training in the future, but also for the upcoming war. The formation of the army is imperative. The command of the thousands of soldiers in Laodi in Waisung, Luo Lin has been fully handed over to Sabo, not included. Now it's targeting the 40,000 recruits who have recently joined. From personal ability to the most fundamental moral test. With Zephyr, the former Marine Chief Instructor, and the support of seasoned veterans. Everything went in order. From time to time, the square was filled with shocking uproars and applause. That was to applaud those who showed their brilliance and made outstanding performances in Taoism. Outside the concentrated testing area of the soldiers, there was also a circle of people around the Tao Strength Tester number 51. Rubber Tomahawk. Vitality Youth Straw Hat Luffy jumped up, and his outstretched right leg fell on the Tao Strength Tester like a battle axe. With a flash of red light. The numbers on the tester flickered wildly. Stopped at the figure of 3,799. Represents the power of Straw Hat Luffy's blow. The Tao strength of an ordinary sea soldier is only about 10. With more than 600 Tao power, he is already a superhuman being. And the Straw Hat Luffy hit this value without attaching armament, just normal attack, which is already very impressive. It is also not far from the 4,000 Tao force of Rob Lucci, the best in 9,800 years. Under Roland's awakening and intervention. The current Straw Hat Luffy is completely different in strength compared to this time in the original plot. If you face Lucci again, even if you don't need the protagonist's blood-locking halo, it will be enough to win. As expected of the little Straw Hat, next is the slave family, Shemale Bentham's golden cock is independent, turns around to come to the tester, and kicks down hard. The power is just over 1,000. Interesting, I'll try it too. With an interesting expression on his face, Zoro unsheathed his 3 swords. Stop. Long-nosed Usopp pops on the back of Zoro's head. This is an instrument to test strength. Don't cut it with a knife, it will break the bastard. Hearing this, Wundas on the other side also put down his arm that turned into a sharp blade and looked up at the sky. Green algae head, let's watch my performance. Proud Isho fell with 1 foot. The road force on the tester steadily exceeded 2,000, and finally reached 2,400. Captain Sabo, you also go to the test. Someone looked at Sabo. Ahahaha, that's fine. Sabo nodded and went straight forward. A punch fell. The road force tester made of special Wabo alloy shakes violently. The number displayed on the meter was finally fixed at 5,000. Wow, looking at this astonishing number, everyone in the room, as well as the Waisung recruits who came over curiously, were all in an uproar. Usopp, Zoro, get out of the way, I'm going to test again. Straw Hat Luffy suddenly made a sound. Both Usopp and Zoro were taken aback. Turn around and take a look. Saw that Luffy had already entered the 3rd gear mode. Hey, what are you doing, Luffy? You can't break this device. Usopp waved his hands in a panic. Rubber elephant gun. He ignored Usopp's reminder. The always heartless Luffy's 3-block elephant gun, about to fall. The people who had gathered beside the instrument dispersed with a hula. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. There was a sharp cracking sound in the air. A faint shadow flashed and disappeared, and it had come to the 3rd block of the Straw Hat Luffy's elephant gun, under. Who? Sabo, Crocodile and others all stopped drinking. Chi-Chi, a large amount of steam enveloped the flame-headed youth Grant. 4. Sabo and the others drinking and questioning. Gurrent seems to have never heard of it. At this moment, all of his mind was on the pitch-black giant fist that was about to fall, full of fighting spirit. The famous little monster in Watchung, he has long wanted to meet for a while. The collision of Dong, fist and fist occurred at this moment. A powerful shock wave spread out with the two fists at the center, causing a cloud of dust. The stalemate is only for a moment. Next second, a terrifying roar sounded. The flame-headed youth Grant's body slammed into the ground heavily, causing the square to burst. Luffy in the sky turned a few somersaults and finally landed on the ground. Who are you? Straw Hat Luffy looked at Grant, who was dozens of meters away, and tilted his head in confusion. My name is Grant, the man who will become Marshal Marine in the future. How about you? Grant spoke confidently. My name is Monkey Luffy and I'm going to be the man of One Piece, King of Pirates. The youth with the vitality straw hat responded loudly. Grunt. ... Chapter 516 Rain and Dew are all covered with fist method. Garp's new ultimate. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. The sound of bang rumbling resounded from a corner of Waisung Square like a dull thunder, and the sky was filled with dust. Straw Hat Luffy's 3-block elephant gun. The brief confrontation with the flame-headed youth Grunt's unicorn arm ends. Luffy, are you all right? Sabo, Usopp and others gathered next to Straw Hat Luffy for the first time and asked with concern. The other side. Crocodile and others took the opportunity to block all the escape routes of the trespassers. Grant. 2 more figures rushed from the coast not far away, and the speed was extremely fast. However, before they could get close, Zoro and Sanji, the foes, shot in unison, blocking their way. Iron block. The Iron Tower strongman Burnham's complexion changed, and he quickly protected himself with iron blocks. However, he was still almost defeated by Sanji's kick, and he retreated again and again in horror. On the other side, under Zoro's 3-sword style, the double-sword swordsman Zeppa was also defeated, flying backwards in the distance, almost unable to hold the double sword in his hand. Burnham, Zeppa, don't come here, I'm fine. The flame-headed marine supernova Gurrent waved a gust of wind, dispelling the dust in the sky. Who the hell are you guys? Why do you want to disturb me to break Sabo's record? Straw Hat Luffy said angrily. My name is Grant, the man who will become Marshal Marine in the future. How about you? Grunt asked back. My name is Monkey Luffy, the man who will be One Piece, King of Pirates. Youth with the vitality straw hat put his hands on his hips and responded subconsciously in a loud voice. Grunt. Everyone. This straw hat boy, as the rumors say, has a problem with his brain. The flame-headed young Grant couldn't help thinking. There is no nonsense in the report. As the grandson of the hero Garp, this kid actually wants to be a pirate, and his thinking is not an ordinary distortion. Since neither Garp Vice Admiral nor the hero Roland can correct your distorted thinking, then let me teach you what justice is. Grant thought so, fists and palms crossed, and a hot steam released from his arms. But soon, Grant just found out that something was wrong. When Straw Hat Luffy said that iconic rhetoric, everyone else's expressions changed. All of them had horror on their faces. What's the matter? It can't be because of him. Gurrent couldn't help but have a big question mark in his heart. Next second, Gurrent finally knew the reason. Luffy. An angry roar suddenly came from the sky. What followed was an astonishing explosion. Like a meteor streaking across the sky. Came to the square with unparalleled terror. Master, calm down. Sabo yelled. Grandpa, didn't you go looking for something to eat? At this moment, Rao, the lawless straw hat Luffy, couldn't help but turn green. Luffy, you're talking nonsense again, look at the old man's iron fist of love. Bei Sao Mao Luffy Yi Ju One Piece, King of Pirates Jiao Huan Er Lai De Garp Wei Dong Man Han I De Tai Quan, Zhou De Sao Mao Xiao Nian Bao Tu Shu Quan, Hua Hua Luan Jiao. Even the surrounding Sabo, Usopp, Crocodile and others all suffered. This is an iron fist of love specially developed by Garp to make every young man feel his love. Also known as the rain and the dew, the fist method. As long as you are in it, no one can be spared. Even the messenger Grant is no exception. I'm going. Grant, who was hit with the iron fist of Garp's love, suddenly widened his eyes, and cold sweat dripped down under the stimulation of the pain that penetrated deep into the bone marrow. This is the power of the hero Garp. So strong. Grind gritted his teeth. He saw the huge gap between him and the hero. It just can't make sense. Garp, stop now. The raging hero Garp's iron fist of love finally came to an end with the intervention of Chief Instructor Zephyr. The young people in the room, including Gurrent, were all gasping for breath. Each covered the big bag on his head and grinned. PFF ha ha ha. Garp scratched his head and laughed heartlessly. In response, Zephyr, Mulien and the others shook their heads helplessly. Immediately, his gaze fell on the three of Grant three who were wearing the Marine Justice cloak. Gurrent, Burnham, Zeppa. As the former chief instructor of Marine School, Zephyr certainly would not fail to recognize these three good seedlings who performed well in the same period. Teacher Zephyr. Grant, Burnham and Zeppa three stepped on Rokushiki and came to Zephyr at the same time, bowing respectfully. I heard from Ain that you were ordered by Kuzan to send a letter to Luo Lin this time. Zephyr opened. Yes, Teacher Zephyr. Karan nodded. I don't know where the hero Mr. Roland is now. My boss, he. Mulien, who was beside him, just wanted to answer. Suddenly, there was a sudden sound in the sky. Oh, this is really a coincidence, little devils, you are lucky, my boss is back. Mulien's words changed. Chapter 517, The Kuzan Message. News from Saul. Open black lens bracket 1/4 for subscription close black lens bracket. A thudding sound came from the clear sky, attracting people's attention. A spaceship made of going is approaching from far to near. Under the sunlight, it blooms with infinite going light, which is dazzling. Ah, oh 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 oh. When seeing the familiar going, arc proverbs. The people gathered in Watchung Square all cheered and shouted in unison. Because they know that this is the master of the city, their hero Roland is back. What day is today? Why are everyone gathered in the square? Could it be that you know brother Luoling is coming back, so you came to greet him? Childishness between her brows and eyes faded, and Nami, who had a hint of mature charm, lifted her hair from her temples and smiled. How can it be so exaggerated? Today is just Zephyr and the others carrying out the army preparation operation. Roland rode. Yesterday he had already heard about this from Suru's contact. Although Roland was happy to throw his hands off the shopkeeper, the establishment of the army naturally required his approval. This is a matter of principle. Even if Roland doesn't care, there must be this process. Oh, that's what it is. Nami nodded. It's no wonder that Vivi and Sister Robin are not here. I just thought, if you know that Brother Rolling is back, everyone will come over immediately. Nami nodded in surprise. Nami, you should go to Robin and the others first, there seems to be my business here. Roland's big hand brushed lightly on Nami's hair. Well, Brother Rolling, go ahead, I will be responsible for telling everyone about the affairs on the holiday island. Nami nodded obediently. Under the collective gaze of tens of thousands of people in Watchung Square. Going, arc proverbs drove straight across the square and headed towards the interior of the city. At the same time. Look, it's Mr. Roland. It's really Mr. Roland. Mr. Roland is here, everyone, work hard and perform well. Oh. When Luo Lin's figure appeared in people's sight. The warm atmosphere in the square suddenly changed to the cheers of the last people, which shot straight into the sky. On the other side, at the edge of the square, Gudong, that is one of the colors, the going spaceship that can fly in the sky is really spectacular. One of Marine's supernova messengers, the strong man Burnham with a tower-like body rolled his Adam's apple and murmured in shock. What about the going spaceship now? That's a hero, the hero Roland is here, it's a real person. Zeppa, the swordsman with two swords, rubbed his hands together in excitement. Up these days. Of course, the most eye-catching person in this sea is only the legend that has disappeared for decades and reappeared in the world. The hero Luo Lin, who was defeated by the alliance of 4 emperors, shook the world. Receiving the task of Admiral Kuzan, start from Marine headquarters and walk all the way. They don't know how many reports about this Wei Sung event. Like many people in Marine, Zeppa and others are also fascinated by the series of feats created by Roland. Even if they don't know anything about the hero's past, but after such a big event, in their hearts is no longer under garp. At this time, seeing the real person appearing in their sight, they were naturally excited in their hearts. Even the arrogant Grant is no exception. He's the hero that Mr. Kuzan also looks up to. It seems that I'm still a long way off. I felt a certain invincible aura that naturally emanated from Roland. Rao is as arrogant as Grant, and unconsciously gives birth to a sense of powerlessness in his heart. At this moment, he looked up, as if he was not looking at a person, but a supreme mountain that towered into the clouds and could not see the head at a glance. Just when Gurant and others were secretly shocked and excited, Roland stepped on the atmosphere step by step and stepped down, and finally came not far in front of them. PFF ha ha ha, the going ship and that shock kid are back. Garp laughed. Roland nodded casually. His gaze swept across the 3 of Grant 3. A hint of suspicion flashed across his face. After a while, after sensing the special Crimson Beast arm hidden under the machine by Grant, Luo Lin nodded knowingly. Kuzan boy's disciple, what are you doing here this time? Roland looked at Gurant and spoke calmly. Yes. Under the hero's gaze, Gurant, who used to be carefree in the past, also stood up nervously and stiffly. Blaze head boy, don't be stunned, my boss is here, take out the letter quickly. Mu Lien urged. Sorry. Grant bowed cautiously. Then he hurriedly took out a gold-painted envelope from the inner pocket of his clothes and handed it to Luo Lin. Boss, what is that guy Kuzan doing to you? Mu Lien asked curiously. Don't worry. Roland casually opened the envelope and took out the creed inside. Only a few crosses were written on the paper. However, an existence like Ling's Luo Lin suddenly changed his face. Saul is not dead. People are in Impel down. Boom. Chapter 518 shocked, excited, delighted. Open black lens bracket 2/4 for full order close black lens bracket. On the edge of Wei Sung Plaza. It was not long after Luo Lin and other senior city executives left. This area is still silent. Of Gurant, Sabo, Crocodile and others, they all looked at each other with extreme shock and disbelief on their faces. No wonder. After all, this is the first time they have seeing such a violent emotional ups and downs in Luo Lin, who has always been calm and steady. The moment before, that diffused from Luo Lin's body almost overwhelmed them, and they almost fell down to the ground. Fortunately, the terrifying pressure went away quickly. Hey, Marine kid, what the hell is in that letter? Crocodile narrowed his eyes and asked in a deep voice. Marine Headquarters Admiral, Kuzan's letter, what exactly is said in it to make an existence like a mentor lose his former calm? Sabo muttered to himself in shock. That is the invincible hero boss. There should be nothing in this world that can shake him. Usopp with a long nose has incredible written all over his face. That's it. Marine guys, come on, what the hell is going on? The field, the eyes of the young warriors in Wei Sung all fell on the 3 of Gurant. I don't know, we really don't know. Under the threat of the condensed momentum, the double-sword swordsman Zeppa waved his hands in a panic. It's really none of our business. We're just responsible for delivering the letter for Mr. Kuzan. We haven't read the content of the letter at all, so how can we know? Iron Tower strongman Burnham also waved his hands to clarify. Is something terrible going to happen again? Geraint, who was always silent, thought of what Admiral Kuzan said to himself after handing the letter to him, and his eyes widened in shock. At the same time, of the Waesung headquarters building finally ushered in its first official meeting today. Rollins, Zephyr, Mulian, and Alfred veteran representatives took their seats. Garp was also on the list. The atmosphere in the top office was unusually solemn. The air seemed to freeze. Clap, for a while. The door of the office opened. Roland. Suru frowned slightly and walked over with long legs. Dad, what happened? Behind Suru, Gion also quickly followed, and asked worriedly. With Suru and Gion taking their seats. The almost frozen atmosphere in the top office finally melted like ice and snow. Luo Lin, you can say it now, what the hell did that kid Kuzan say in the letter, and even you have been affected by this. Garp opened his mouth. There was a rare solemn look on the old face. On weekdays, he is careless and heartless, but he will not lose the chain again when it comes to major events. Could it be that the government has? Zephyr guessed. Roland shook his head calmly. He pushed out the crumpled letter in his hand. Saul is not dead, people are in Impel Down. The anxious Mulien was the first to grab the letter paper and subconsciously read out the few crosses on the paper. The atmosphere in the office was silent again. After a while. Nani? Mulien screamed in surprise. Saul, is that, Saul? Yes, it must be our giant brother Saul. But, 20 years ago the O'Hara incident, Saul wasn't already. Saul is one of Kuzan's best friends. I said, how could Kuzan killed Saul himself? Alfred and other veterans also stood up suddenly. Face of the old man was stunned at first, and then there was a look of extreme joy and excitement. Isn't Uncle Saul the giant dead? Dad, Sister Crane, is this true? Gion's pretty face was also filled with excitement that couldn't be restrained. As Luo Lin's daughter, Gion naturally received a lot of care from Luo Lin's subordinates during her growth. Among them, the giant Vice Admiral Saul had the greatest influence on Gion. Compared to other rough people who only fight and kill, the mild-mannered Saul once helped the young Gion get out of the trough of despair, and was Gion's life mentor. 20 years ago. After learning that Saul was frozen by Admiral Kuzan and obliterated by Buster Call, Gion was furious, and almost made a mess of the entire Marine headquarters. Kuzan, who was still Vice Admiral at the time of chasing, did not dare to appear in the headquarters for a month. Now, suddenly learning that one of his life mentors, Saul, is still alive. Gion's inner excitement and joy are no less than that of Mulien and other veterans. Chapter 519 Take Robin to Impel Down Open Black Lens Bracket 3/4 for Full Order Close Black Lens Bracket. Waesung Headquarters Building, the highest office. After knowing the good news that the former giant Vice Admiral Saul is not dead, Gion, Mulian, Alfred and other veterans were all filled with excitement and joy. The faces of Zephyr, Garp, and Suru III were stunned. When he sensed the gaze from Roland, Zephyr immediately looked ashamed. Sorry. Zephyr apologized softly. Roland shook his head slightly. Not blaming Zephyr at all. Zephyr had long since moved away from the Marine Power Center 20 years ago. And bother about Marine's affairs anymore, just focus on cultivating the new generation. In addition, there are Garp and Suru, and Roland has now figured it out. They must not know about Saul is being held in secret. If he had known, with Garp's nonsense and Suru's wisdom, Saul would have been fished out of Impel Down long ago. Even if he can't return to the Marine headquarters, at least he can return to his hometown and return to Elbath, the giant country. This matter, in addition to the people in the Impel Down prison, The only people in the marine who know about it are probably the only parties involved, Kuzan and Sengoku, who was admiral at the time. Thinking of this, Luo Lin's eyes couldn't help but become a little deeper. That kid Kuzan is really capable. He didn't even tell the old man about such a big thing. When we meet next time, I will definitely let that kid taste the iron fist of my old man's love, as well as that old boy Sengoku. Garp finally came back to his senses and said angrily. When are you going to leave? Suru looked at Roland and asked bluntly. If it was the previous her, she would definitely appease Luo Lin and everyone else first. He and Garp will return to the Marine headquarters to negotiate with Marshal Sengoku and bring Sol out step by step. But now, it's different. She knew what Luo Lin was thinking. It's clearer what Rollins wants to do. But she wasn't going to stop it. As she said to Sengoku before. This time, no matter what Luo Lin wants to do, she will only support it silently. Feeling the support from Suru, the corners of Luo Lin's calm mouth couldn't help but raise an arc. Hold Suru's soft hand, Vivi Isho. Leave right away. Roland rode. Hearing this, the old eyes of Mu Lian and others were stunned. A bright. I'm going to. Mu Lian was the first to actively sign up. Sol is also our brother, please let me go too. That's right, let's take Sol home together. The veterans spoke up. Dad, I want to go too. Guillaume opened his bright eyes and looked at Roland with a look of hope. It's alright, don't make a fool of yourself, this matter is not too big, and it is not too small. Zephyr rode. Zephyr, what do you mean? Garp was puzzled. This news came from Kuzan, that kid should just simply want to save his friend from the bitter sea of prison, but if we mobilize people to break into Impel Down, the government people will definitely make a fuss about it and take the opportunity to smear us. The most important thing is to discredit Roland's heroic name. Zephyr analyzed. Hearing this, the happy expressions on everyone's faces couldn't help but stagnate. Then leave it to me, the old man doesn't care about heroes or not. Garp patted the bear's mouth and looked like it was wrapped around me. Hee, Garp, are you underestimating me? Roland hee Isho. What? Do you think I care about the so-called hero's name? Roland asked. PFF'd, ha, that's what I said. Garp laughed. Mu Lian, Alfred and the others looked at each other, and then laughed out loud. Then it's decided, I'll go to prepare the ship. Mullen rode. I want to help too. If you go from here, it's the fastest way to go to the Ennie's lobby and go to the door of justice there. Guillaume opened his mouth. No. Roland shook his head calmly. Guillaume. Yes. Mu Lian. Yes, boss. You can all stay here and wait for my news. Roland rode. Alas. But. Wait, what more did Guillaume and others say? Luo Lin's figure in the office suddenly disappeared. Dad really? Guillaume puffed out her face angrily. Okay, Guillaume, everyone else can go, only you who are still Vice Admiral can't go, so just wait. Suru gently stroked Guillaume's hair and spoke comfortably. Okay then. Guillaume's boring kick. Wearing high heels, you have to accept this fact. At the same time. On the other side, Roland, who disappeared from the office of the headquarters building, did not go to Impel Down for the first time. This trip to Impel Down, Roland rejected the requests of Guillaume, Mu Lim and others to travel with him. But there is one person who he intends to take with him. Chapter 524 Emperor Class Attendant. The little girls were all stunned. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Central Waysung, Green Garden. A huge manor house stands. Going Arc is parked in the open space of the manor. This is Roland's residence. The residence of Nami, Robin, Vivi and other little girls. At this moment, the returning Nami is happily telling little girls such as Vivi, Koala, Kaya and other interesting things about the Paradise Island. Hearing that all the little girls have beautiful eyes, and their hearts are fascinated. Oh, I really envy you, Nami, for being able to spend 2 days on the holiday island with Brother Rolling. Vivi spoke with envy. Ha ha ha, next time you can go together. With a bright smile on Nami's face, her heart cocked up with joy. Speaking of which, Nami, why do I feel like something is different when you come back this time? What happened? Kaya looked up and down Nami from the perspective of a professional doctor. Her fair face couldn't help but be suspicious. Not just Kaya. Robin, who has always been sharp-minded, also narrowed his narrow eyes and looked at Nami's legs, as if he had noticed something. Noticing the suspicious gazes of Kaya and Robin, Nami couldn't help grinning subconsciously, and hurriedly took a few steps away. By the way, I almost forgot to tell everyone. When you go to the holiday island next time, everyone should be mentally prepared. Nami changed the subject. What mental preparation? Vivi asked in confusion. Now, it's not just old Kim and Marianne on that island, that. Nami spoke solemnly. Alas. All the little girls were stunned. As that, the 4 emperors. 4 emperors Lot Linlin. Koala, the girl Alice and the others all held their breath subconsciously, widening their shocking beautiful eyes. That's right, it's that, 4 emperors. Nami nodded affirmatively. Ah. The little girls who got Nami's affirmation showed extreme shock and disbelief on their faces. 4 emperors Lot Linlin, why is she on Lao Jin's holiday island? Vivi let out a shocked coquettish cry. Hee hee. Nami giggled, Isho, and nodded. Everyone, don't be too nervous. Now that, Siwangqiang is also a person from our side. Like Lao Jin, she is already a follower of Brother Luo. Nami reveals the truth. 4 Emperor Luo Ling's servant. That terrifying aunt. Agaga, it's really incredible. As expected of Lord Roland. All the little girls were full of emotion. Ah, Brother Rolling is here. At this moment, Vivi saw Luo Lin who entered the door, and suddenly exclaimed in surprise. Rolingo. Tutor. Mr. Roland. Lord Roland. Empress Hancock, Koala, Makino and other little girls all gathered around Luo Lin for the first time. Or ask about things on the holiday island, or talk about what you miss. Yin Yin Yan Yan, it's so lively. Brother Luo Ling, why did you come to the square so soon? Is it over? Nami asked. Not yet, I have another thing this time. Roland opened his mouth and his eyes fell on Robin. Robin, give me your hand. Roland extended his inviting right hand to Robin. Ah. Robin, who was still immersed in thinking about something, reacted with hindsight. But he still subconsciously put his small hand on Luo Lin's big hand. R.O. Lord Roland. Range, Koala, Empress Hancock, Vivi and others asked. Next second. Luo Lin activated his space ability and took Robin and disappeared from the manor in an instant. This time. Luo Lin appeared again, and he was already above a certain cloud 100 miles away from Wacheng. Uncle, where are you taking me? Finally, Robin couldn't help but ask. Go to Annie's lobby first. Roland said calmly. Ah, go again. Robin's eyes widened in shock. She hasn't forgotten that a few months ago, Roland said he was going to kill someone at the Annie's lobby. The end, it almost raised the entire Annie's lobby to the ground, causing a sensation. Guess it's still at the moment, it's being rebuilt, so it's going to go again. Does the uncle have a grudge against Annie's lobby? Robin couldn't help thinking. Not right. Robin seemed to have thought of something. Go to Annie's lobby first and then later. Robin asked. After that, of course, go to Impel Down through the door of justice. Roland grinned. Ah. Roland was going to take her to Impel Down. Robin's eyes widened in shock. The red lips are so wide that they can almost fit an entire egg. Next second. Wait, she came to her senses. Roland's space ability is activated again. Oh. The sudden weightlessness frightened Robin with a coquettish cry, and subconsciously hugged Luo Lin tightly. 30 minutes later. After dozens of space jumps. The Isle of Justice, Anius Hall, here we come.